How's it going, everybody? My name is LuckyBunz. In today's video, we're going to be going over all the content for the month of November in Pokemon Go. With that being said, we got a lot to get through, so let's go and jump straight into it. Okay, so this is going to be the final month with these current season bonuses. We're going to get guaranteed Rare Candy XL during raid hours. We're going to get guaranteed extra large candy from trading Pokemon if you're level 31 or higher. We're also going to get one additional candy from trading Pokemon, and we're going to get increased experience for your 7-day catch and Pokestop spin streaks. And then finally, we'll have increased friendship experience, which is going to be 1.5 times. Now, I do hope that some of these bonuses do carry over into the next season. For example, the increased friendship experience has been very nice, but most likely the guaranteed extra large candy from trading Pokemon is going to go away. So if you guys have not been taking advantage of that bonus, I would strongly recommend to do a lot of trades during this month to really maximize the amount of candy you get on your Pokemon. Next up, let's take a look at our Shadow Legendary Pokemon from Giovanni, which is going to be Tornadus Incarnate. Now, this is going to be the featured Pokemon until the next Team Go Rocket takeover, which has not been announced yet. Hopefully that's going to come sometime around January, so you guys still have some time to figure out if you actually want this. That being said, though, this Pokemon is terrible in pretty much every possible way when it comes down to PvP and even raid battles. It's like slightly better than Staraptor in raid battles, which isn't that good. So for reference here, there are much better options out there. And in simple terms, I would just stack your Super Rocket Radar, and for anybody who's unsure how to actually do that, you can check out this quick video on screen. You can also find it linked in the description down below, but now let's take a look at our Shadow Legendary Pokemon in raid battles, which is going to be Shadow Latios. Now when it comes down to the meta relevance of Shadow Latios, this Pokemon isn't really worth building for raid battles or for PvP. You do have much better options out there for dragon type attackers in raid battles, and so the main incentive to actually hunt this during this month is going to be for the potential Shadow Shiny. Next up, let's take a look at our research breakthrough Pokemon. So we're going to get access to Alakazam, Aggron, Morpeko, Dreepy, Frigibax, and Sinistea, and you do also have a chance to get a remote raid pass from these if you have no more than 2 in your Pokemon bag, although it is pretty rare. Following that, let's take a look at our legendary raid pool, and we're going to have a lot of legendary raids this month. So first of all, the rotation cycle is going to be from 10 a.m. to 10 a.m. local time for all the dates I'm about to mention, and we're going to continue to have Giratina altered form until November 4th. This Pokemon is great to build for the Open Ultra League as well as for the Open Master League, but for the Open Ultra League, you do want to ideally mirror trade this with somebody else to get a better IV spread for PvP. Following that, we're going to have Raikou, Entei, and Suicune from November 4th to November 11th. Now, these are making their return right before the Go Wild Area event, but none of them are really worth picking up for meta relevance anymore. That said, though, if you are still missing their shiny forms, that's going to be your main reason to go out and raid for them. If you do have their shadow variants like Shadow Raikou or Shadow Entei, you may want to use your free passes to grab some extra candy as well. Raikou in particular is going to be a great one to focus on just because Shadow Raikou is one of the best electric type attackers in the game. The only thing that's actually a little bit better than it now is going to be Regieleki. Personally speaking, though, I love using my Shadow Raikou against Rocket Grunts, so again, even if you don't have access to that Pokemon just yet, take advantage of this opportunity right now to farm some extra candy for this Pokemon. Next up, we're going to take a look at the lead-up event for the Go Wild Area, which is going to have different raid bosses featured every single day. So on November 10th, we're going to get access to 2 raid bosses, Shadow Lugia and Shadow Ho-Oh. If you want a chance at getting the Hundo Lugia or Ho-Oh, you do want to actually try and do a few of these if you can, because if you happen to get an IV spread that is at least 13, 13, 13, you can purify that for the Hundo. Now, both Ho-Oh and Lugia are ranked quite well in the Open Master League, so you will actually get most of your playability there. And then in terms of dual functionality for raid usage, only Shadow Ho-Oh would really be a Pokemon that you can actually run there. Regular Ho-Oh gets outclassed by so many other fire types. Next up, on November 11th, we're going to get access to Tapu Koko and Tapu Lele. Both of these Pokemon are going to get access to their legacy move Nature's Madness, which is really nice. And in terms of meta relevance here, Tapu Lele ranks in the top 40 right now in the Open Master League, and Tapu Koko doesn't really rank that well, so honestly, that one's just for the shiny hunters mostly. Now, a really important Pokemon that's going to be featured on November 12th is going to be Duskmane Necrozma, and I do want to highlight here, since we got Zacian and Zamazenta Crown forms earlier this year around summertime, Duskmane Necrozma isn't as powerful as it once was. Like, it's not going to be the #1 steel type to use in raid battles, but that doesn't mean that it's bad or that you shouldn't do these raids for the fusion energy. It's only a few points lower than Zacian and Zamazenta, and it still ranks in the top 20 for the Open Master League. So in my opinion, it is still definitely worth doing these raids, but you have to do at least 10 in order to get enough fusion energy for these Pokemon, which can be kind of a lot. And maybe some of you guys have some fusion energy from like the last time it was available in raid battles, but if you don't, it's going to be at least 10 raids, maybe even 12. Next up, on November 13th, we're going to have Tapu Bulu and Tapu Fini featured, and these will also get access access to their signature moveset Nature's Madness. Now, Tapu Bulu is a decent grass type attacker to use, and it does rank in the top 60 for the Open Master League. Tapu Fini ranks in the top 80 for the Open Ultra League, but you do want to ideally mirror trade that with somebody else to get better IVs for PvP. Now, finally, on November 14th, we're going to have the most important Pokemon you can actually focus on during this month, and that's going to be Dawnwing's Necrozma. This is the best ghost type attacker in the game, and if you only have a limited amount of green raid passes to use, I would dump them all into farming fusion energy for this Pokemon. The more you can get, the more powerful your ghost type team will be, and that typing is used quite frequently in this game. Not to mention, Dawnwing's Necrozma ranks in the top 20 for the Open Master League if you do happen to get the hundo. I also want to emphasize this again, this is the most important Pokemon you can raid during this month, and it's only going to be here for one day, so do as many of these raids as you possibly can. Now, a few days after the Go Wild area ends, Heatran is going to make its way into the rotation from November 18th to November 25th, but it does make me wonder why it starts on the 18th, because from the 14th to the 18th, there was nothing mentioned for raid battles, so it's possible that this could be a typo, and that's known to happen, but I mean, we'll have to wait and see what we actually get in raid battles during that time period. We'll figure this out as we get closer to this point in the month, but anyways, in terms of meta relevance, it does rank in the top 80 for the Open Master League, and if you do have the Shadow variant, I would strongly recommend using your free passes to farm some candy on this. Now, following Heatran, we're going to have the Swords of Justice available from November 25th to December 2nd. But sadly, they are not going to have their legacy movesets, and that is okay, because for both Cobalion and Virizion, you do want to ideally mirror trade them for a better IV spread in PvP for the Open Ultra League, so if you do happen to get a desirable IV spread after all those trades, you can always just Elite TM to get Sacred Sword. Both are still extremely meta relevant in the Open Ultra League, so keep that in mind. It's very much worth using your free passes at the very least, and then mirror trading them. Now, when it comes down to Terrakion, this is one of the best fighting type attackers in the game with Sacred Sword, so if you do happen to get a really good IV spread on that one as well, you could always Elite TM for it. That being said though, you can be a bit more conservative if you already have access to Mega Lucario, because that Pokemon alone is so good that you can just max revive it and it's going to do more damage compared to most fighting type attackers in the game. I typically use a combo of Mega Lucario, Terrakion, and Shadow Conkeldurr before I max revive my team. So again, Terrakion is definitely worth picking up. It is one of the best fighting type attackers in the game, but you know, if you don't want to spend too many resources because we have so many other good raid bosses during this month, that is understandable. Next up, let's take a look at raid hours, which are going to be taking place every Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. local time. Typically, whichever legendary Pokemon is currently in rotation is going to be the one featured during that respective Wednesday. Although, because we do have the Go Wild Area event and the lead-up event for that, we're going to have a ton of raid hours during this month, so let's go over those right now. So first of all, on November 5th, we're going to get Raikou, Entei, and Suicune, and then we're going to have the lead-up event for the Go Wild Area. So on the 10th, we're going to get Shadow Lugia and Shadow Ho-Oh. On the 11th, we're going to get Tapu Koko and Tapu Lele. On the 12th, we're going to get Duskmane Necrozma. On the 13th, we're going to get Tapu Bulu and Tapu Fini. And then on the 14th, we're going to get Dawnwing's Necrozma. Now on the 19th, we're going to get Heatran. And then on the 26th, we're going to get Cobalion, Terrakion, and Virizion. For those of you unfamiliar with how raid hours work, most gyms will have the featured Pokemon appearing and the raids are going to reset after about 25 minutes, which means you can hit the same gyms again at the half-hour mark. It's pretty convenient if you only have a few gyms around you. Now, for anybody struggling to find, local meetups before this event, I would strongly recommend checking out Campfire. Now, before we get into our next segment of this video, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, which is going to be my second channel where I'm posting Legends ZA content. I just put together a really in-depth early game guide, so if you guys haven't actually picked up the game yet, or if you're in the early game part of your playthrough, definitely make sure to check out that video. I think you guys could find it super helpful. And if you have any suggestions on content that you actually want to see in that game, let me know in the comment section down below, either on here or over on my second channel. Next up, let's take a look at our Mega Raid rotation. So we're going to continue to have Mega Gengar, Sableye, and Bayonet until November 4th. The main one to pay attention to here is going to be Mega Gengar, which is the best ghost type Mega in the game. We also have Mega Sableye, which is also worth picking up in my opinion for candy farming bonuses because it does take on the dual typing of Dark and Ghost. It was super useful to use during the Halloween event, so you definitely want to grab that for next year for sure. Next up, from the 4th to the 11th, we're going to have Mega Beedrill, Pinsir, and Heracross. Mega Heracross is the best bug type attacker to build in the game, so you definitely want to focus on that Pokemon at the very least. We also have Mega Beedrill and Pinsir, which both have access to dual typings. Mega Pinsir gets access to Bug and Flying, and then Mega Beedrill gets access to Poison and Bug. So both are really good to use for candy farming bonuses. I would definitely make sure to grab those as well. Next up, from the 11th to the 18th, we're going to have Mega Tyranitar and Mega Altaria. Mega Tyranitar is the king of dark and rock types in the game, so you definitely don't want to miss your chance to obtain this because this Pokemon is phenomenal. And you do also want to ideally pick up 2 different versions of this, one with dark type moves and the other one with rock type moves. And the reason for this is because of Smackdown, which is going to be a legacy fast move. So you can't actually alternate between these 2 movesets or these 2 typings. You have to make sure that you have 2 different versions. Otherwise, you'd have to use an elite team every single time. And I do have one friend who does this, but I always kind of shake my head because I'm like, you don't need to do that, just build a second Tyranitar. So for most of you out there, I think that's the better choice, but if you are like him and you have an endless supply of elite fast TMs, you could do it that way too if you really want to. Either way though, I would make sure to do at least 3 to 4 raids to get enough Mega Energy for the 2 different versions. Now when it comes down to Mega Altaria, this is mostly used for candy farming bonuses because it does take on the dual typing of Fairy and Dragon, so I would just do a few raids for that as well. From the 18th to the 25th, we're going to have Mega Manectric and Mega Ampharos. So similar to last year, we're going to have both Electric-type Megas in November, and both of these are actually worth doing. Mega Manectric is better for DPS and raids, while Mega Ampharos picks up the dual typing of Dragon and Electric, making it much better for candy farming during certain events. And that's because Mega Manectric is a pure electric type, it doesn't take on any dual typings. Now finally, from November 25th to December 2nd, we're going to get Mega Garchomp, Mega Medicham, and Mega Aerodactyl. If you happen to miss Mega Rayquaza in October, then you do want to pick up some energy from Mega Garchomp. This also is great for candy farming because it does take on the dual typing of Dragon and Ground. Mega Medicham is also great for candy farming because it's take on the dual typing of Fighting and Psychic, similar to Mega Gallade. And then finally we do have Mega Aerodactyl, which isn't as good as Mega Tyranitar when it comes down to rock type relevance, but the upside here is that you don't have to actually use any elite TMs on it. Now overall, when it comes down to all of these Mega Pokemon, I would recommend doing at least 1 to 2 raids to get the initial energy to Mega Evolve them for the first time, and then afterwards you can just walk them as your buddy. The goal is going to be to get your Mega Pokemon to Mega Level 3, which is unlocked after 30 days of Mega Evolution. This will get you significantly better candy bonuses when catching Pokemon, so again, at least 1 to 2 raids and then you can just walk them from there. Following that, let's take a look at our max battles that are going to be in rotation during this month. So we're going to continue to have Dynamax Woobat until November 2nd. Can't really think of a reason why you guys should be doing these, it is just not useful in anything. Same thing with our next rotation, which is going to be Dynamax Inkay until November 10th. Cannot think of a reason why you guys should be doing these either. But we do have Dynamax Ralts from November 10th to November 17th. I would personally love to get my hands on a shiny Dynamax Gardevoir. I love shiny Gardevoir. I get this in like every single Pokemon game that is actually available. I have the Shadow Hundo, the Lucky Hundo, and a shiny 98 Gardevoir, so I definitely need to pick up a shiny Dynamax Gardevoir if I can, or at least try to get it from a Lucky Friend trade. Now, in terms of meta relevance here, this is going to be great as a Fairy type attacker for max battles because we really don't have many options here, and the only other ones that we're going to get in the future are going to be legendary Pokemon, which we probably won't see for some time. So in my opinion, picking up Dynamax Ralts could definitely be a great addition for your max battle team. Next up, we're going to have Dynamax Toxtricity from November 17th to November 24th. You can do these for the candy if you really want to, but otherwise I don't really think there's like a huge incentive to actually pick them up because it does get access to a GMAX variant, and ideally you want to focus on that, not the Dynamax forms. And then finally, from November 24th to December 1st, we're going to get Dynamax Eevee. Now keep in mind as well, this is going to get a future GMAX form, but I don't believe you're going to be able to evolve that version. Therefore, if you do want to grab the various evolutions in our Dynamax forms, you do want to do these Dynamax Eevee. I personally don't care that much about it, like I'd rather just wait for the future GMAX Eevee because that's what you want for your collection, but I get that some players might want to have the Dynamax evolution, so I mean that's its own thing as well. Next up, let's take a look at the upcoming events for this month, and keep in mind the event windows are going to be based on your local time zones. So first of all, we're going to have GMAX Garbodor Max Battle Day. Probably by the time this video is getting uploaded, this event is about to take place. So let's go over all the event details. So first of all power spots are going to be GMAX Garbodor during this event, which is going to be 800 MP to actually do. Power spots are going to refresh about every 30 minutes. We're going to have the remote raid pass limit raised from 10 to 20. Now keep in mind, if you do want to do these with remote raid passes, you're also going to have to spend the 800 MP as well in the addition of the remote raid pass. So it is kind of expensive, or at least it can get kind of expensive. The MP collection limit is also going to be raised from 800 to 1600 during this event. We're going to get 1/4 adventure distance for MP. Basically, it means that you only have to walk 0.5 kilometers to get the 300 MP from that. And then on top of that, we're also going to get 2 times MP from walking. So instead of 300 MP, that's actually going to be 600 MP when you actually walk those 0.5 kilometers. Really, really nice. We're going to get 8 times MP from power spots. It's going to go from 120 to 820. And then we're going to have a timed research, which should be available right now in game. It's actually really easy compared to how it was in the past. All you have to do is just win 5 max battles, so you can just go and do those Dynamax Woobat if you want to. So basically what you want to do is you want to hold on to this research with your 1500 MP that you guys can claim until you've already used up all of your MP for the max battle day. then go in and claim the MP from the timed research, and this is going to stack on whatever the limit already was for you. These GMAX raids are amazing for farming experience in Stardust, so honestly you want to do as many of these as you possibly can. This is going to be a great way to add on at least 1 or 2 extra ones. Now also we're going to get 3 special trades during this event from 2 to 5 p.m. And then for anybody who wants to buy the event ticket that's going to cost $5, you're going to get a timed research giving you 25,000 experience plus a max mushroom. You're going to get 2 times max battle experience. And then you're also going to get the MP collection limit raised from 800 to 5,600 compared to the 1,600 limit, which is going to be available for free players. So overall, when it comes down to this Pokemon, I wouldn't say it's anything that you particularly need to focus on, but the amount of resources you can get by just participating in these is totally worth showing up for this event. So I would strongly recommend checking out Campfire for your closest meetups and then just head to that location for this event. You want to get there closer to 2 because, I mean, after about an hour or so, maybe even after about 30 minutes, the amount of players tends to drop off significantly, right? Because most people are just going to be using their free MP. Most of the players probably aren't going to be raiding super hard for this stuff. The next event we're going to talk about is going to be the Enchanted Hollow event from November 4th to November 9th. We're going to have the following bonuses: 2 times Pokestop spin experience and 2 times lure module duration, basically going from 30 minutes to 1 hour. Overall, not the best bonuses if you ask me, kind of mid actually, but still something nice to have, I suppose. Now we're also going to get the Tarantula debut and the Spidops as well for the evolution. That's going to cost 50 candy. I don't really think this Pokemon's going to be that good for anything, so it's really just more of a new Pokemon during this event, which I guess is cool for what it is. We're also going to get a boosted shiny rate of 1 out of 128 on Paris and Stantler, so Paris is actually a really rare shiny Pokemon to get in Pokemon GO. Try to take advantage of this event to actually farm that one. I think I've only gotten 2, and they were both during Spotlight hours, so again, a very rare Pokemon that we almost never see in game. Take advantage of the boosted shiny rate on this Pokemon, or just the spawns in general, because again, we really don't see Paris that often, and Paris is going to give you bonus Stardust for catching it, which is just another reason to really focus on them. Now finally, we're going to have a paid timed research available for $2 that's going to get you 1 Mossy Lure module, 2 incense, and 3 lucky eggs, along with encounters with Paris, Stantler, Drampa, and Tarantula. So in my opinion, this is actually super worth it. I mean, the lucky eggs and the Mossy Lure module alone are definitely going to get your money's worth. The 2 incense are kind of nice as well. It's like an extra 80 Pokecoins right there. So yeah, overall, the paid times research for this event are definitely worth picking up for $2. And I do also want to mention this as well, Drampa will be featured in raid battles. I do actually have a few friends who like hunting this one down for the shiny, so I just kind of wanted to shout that out. Now following that, from November 10th to November 14th, we're going to have the Into the Wild event. Once again, the lead up event for the Go Wild Area event over the weekend, which is going to be on the 15th and the 16th. I will have a few videos uploaded as we get closer to both of these events. As mentioned, this is going to be the final major event of the year in game, and it's one you definitely do not want to miss. There's going to be a lot of paid tickets, passes, we're going to have the silver bottle cap, we're going to have tons of other stuff going on. I think the event ticket by itself is worth it. Whether or not you want to actually pay for the Go Pass and get the silver bottle cap, I think that's a lot more optional. And again, we'll analyze all of this stuff in future videos, so just stay tuned for that. Now after the Go Wild Area event, we're going to have the High Voltage event from November 18th to November 22nd. No information has been posted about this just yet, but it's most likely going to revolve around Electric-type Pokemon. Now from Friday, November 21st to Monday, November 24th, we're going to have a Dynamax Max Battle Weekend, which also has not been announced. And then we're going to have the Final Justice event from November 25th to November 30th. Once again, no information has been announced for this, but given the name of the event, it's most likely going to revolve around Keldeo as the season actually concludes in game. And then over that weekend, we're also going to have another Dynamax Max Battle Weekend. Kind of crazy that we're getting 2 of these in the same month, but yeah, on November 29th and November 30th, we'll have one of those. And then finally, at the end of the month, on November 30th, we're going to have a Community Day, which has not been announced yet. So basically, half of the events this month have not been announced. I might do a mid-month update for all of these events, and we can kind of talk about them more during that time. But yeah, honestly, just the Go Wild Area event is the most important thing I would say to pay attention to during this month. We do have Spotlight hours though, so let's take a look at those right now to end off this video. So these are going to be taking place every Tuesday from 6 to 7 p.m. local time. And shiny forms will be available for every single one of these featured Pokemon, so just keep that in mind. So first of all, on November 4th, we're going to have access to Weedle with a special bonus 2 times transfer candy. Now we are just coming off a 2 times transfer candy bonus from the Halloween event, so if you for some reason forgot to get rid of anything, you can use this Spotlight Hour to actually do that. Otherwise, this Spotlight Hour could be a way for you to stockpile a bunch of cheap evolution through Weedle for some experience if you're kind of pushing for level 80. Next up, on November 11th, we're going to have Morlo with a special bonus 2 times Evolve experience. I would just completely ignore the special bonus here and focus on catching as many Morlo as you possibly can for the Stardust gains. That said though, this is going to be a few days before the Go Wild Area event over the weekend, and you also want to save as many Ultra Balls as you possibly can for that grind, because again, it's going to be 16 hours, 8 hours each day. You don't want to actually burn through all of your Ultra Balls before this massive event. There's going to be tons of amazing Pokemon to focus on, and I feel like this is kind of a noob trap. Like, it is a good event to play, like, don't get me wrong. The Stardust games are going to be super good, but if you feel like you won't be able to restock before the weekend, you should probably skip this or go a little bit lighter because of the opportunity cost. Now, following that, on November 18th, we're going to have Sableye with the special bonus being 2x Catch Stardust. This is going to happen a few days after the Go Wild Area event, and you might be low on Ultra Balls from the weekend. So if you can, try to at least keep a decent stockpile so that you actually can play this event, because in my opinion, this is going to be the most important Spotlight Hour of the month. Thanks to the special bonus, you're going to get 1,500 Stardust per catch on Sableye. So I'm going to grind this one out for sure. This is going to be kind of like my last event that I actually play pretty hard before the end of the month. I mean, after the Go Wild Area event, most people are pretty fatigued from playing that much, but try to keep some energy, try to keep some Ultra Balls in reserve for Sableye during this Spotlight Hour. Now finally, on November 25th, we're going to have Scraggy with the special bonus being 2x Catch Experience. This is going to fall close to Thanksgiving time if you guys do celebrate that holiday, which is why I kind of feel like the Spotlight Hour is actually more mid. Now, it is definitely one you guys can skip, but if you do want to get that shiny, then I would go out and play for it, but I think this Spotlight Hour was definitely designed to be skippable. So basically, in conclusion, I do feel like November actually has a lot to look forward to. We have tons of Mega Pokemon featured, plenty of legendary Pokemon, we have Sableye Spotlight Hour, the Go Wild Area event, and even a few Dynamax focused events as well. And the season is also going to conclude with Keldeo, which should be pretty exciting because we're going to get a form change for that. Now, overall, I'd say the first half of the month seems really, really good, and the second half of the month is probably a bit more chill depending on how the events are going to be structured, but that's usually how it goes. And overall, I can't really complain too much about that. I'm still playing Legends ZA, and that game has been a ton of fun. I do feel like there's definitely been a drop in interest in the game recently, which kind of sucks to see, but that does happen in Pokemon GO. It's not like it's always going to be at a high, and especially coming off summer, I feel like a lot of people probably felt burnt out from like all the events. And really, even the Halloween event wasn't like crazy good. I feel like a lot of people were actually pretty underwhelmed by it. So I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm personally looking forward to the Go Wild Area event. I hope you guys are too. That should be a banger of an event. We got tons of other good stuff this month. And again, like if there's anything you're looking forward to specifically, let me know in the comment section down below. And if you guys do want to check out some more content in the meantime, I'm going to recommend these two videos right here. But before you go, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you all real soon in the next one.